Hey guys, my name is Naija and welcome back to my channel, Caffeinated Nooks. Do you guys like my makeup? I don't know if you guys can tell, but I did something different with it and I'm actually liking it. It's a really cute moment. Today I just wanted to come in and talk about a book that I read recently that I really enjoyed, and I gave it like a 4-star rating. And maybe because it kind of took me out of a reading slump is why it has such a high rating, but I just really enjoyed it. I read Terms and Conditions and I feel like this book was kind of everything that I wanted Terms and Conditions to be, but like in a different way. Like Terms and Conditions was a really good book. I really enjoyed it. Like girl, I read that. I loved it. It was good. But I think this book had some things in it that I wish that Terms and Conditions had in it. And I just want to talk about it just a little bit. So the book that I am talking about, as you probably read through the title, is called Pride and Protest by Nikki Payne. And I think it's like a retelling of Pride and Prejudice. I've never read Pride and Prejudice. Maybe I should read it. So since I haven't read Pride and Prejudice, I don't really know how similar it is to that. So I can't really tell you guys about that. But I did read this book and it was so good, guys. It was really fun. It was lighthearted. I read it in less than a day. I'm gonna try to give you guys as little spoilers as possible, but I feel like I just really need to get into depth with this book because it held so much significance to me. Not just it being a good book, but also like certain things that were mentioned in it, and I really want to talk about it and delve a little deep with you guys about the book. So I'm gonna read the back so you guys get the summary, because like I said, no one can summarize the book as good as the author. So I'm gonna give you guys a summary and then I'm gonna give you guys my kind of version of it. A woman goes head to head with the CEO of a corporation threatening to destroy her neighborhood in this fresh and modern retelling of Pride and Prejudice by debut author Nikki Payne. Liza B, the only DJ who gives a jam, wants to take her neighborhood back from the soulless property developer dropping unaffordable condos on every street corner in DC. But her planned protest at a corporate event takes a turn after she mistakes the smoldering hot CEO for a waiter. When they go toe-to-toe, the sparks fly, but her impossible to ignore family thwarts her every move. Liza wants Dorsey Fitzgerald out of her hood, but she'll settle for getting him out of her head. At first, Dorsey writes off Liza Bennett as more interested in performing outrage than acting on it. As the adopted Filipino son of a wealthy white family, he has always felt a bit out of place and knows a fraud when he sees one. But when Liza's protest results in a viral meme, their lives are turned upside down and Dorsey comes to realize this irresistible revolutionary is the most real woman he's ever met. Liza is a DJ and she is a very like an activist person. She speaks on a lot of the issues that go on in her community. It was like a breath of fresh air, but also like understanding that these are topics that actually happen in real life and that are actually needs to be talked about. This book made me really emotional, but I'm going to talk about it in a minute. Okay, so let's talk about the characters, the main characters that are introduced in this book. First, we have Liza. She is just this very opinionated, outspoken person, and she talks about things that need to be talked about, and she's often judged for that, and it does affect her, but she still goes on and continues to do what she thinks is right, and I really do appreciate that about her. She's definitely one of my favorite characters in this book. Next, we have the main guy character, who is Dorsey. He is Filipino. He was adopted by this rich white family. They took him in. They adopted him, his sister, and his brother from different countries. You get to see like he does feel a lot of out of place. He didn't even want the position. It was kind of forced upon him, and I'm not going to tell you guys why it was forced upon him. Read the book because I don't want to spoil it too much. Very uncomfortable in his position that he's in. He doesn't want to be in it and he doesn't feel right in it, and therefore he kind of dreads everything that comes with it, especially him being the CEO of this company. He has to deal with a lot of people questioning his authority because he is younger than them, and he feels inadequate, and you'll see that throughout the book. Like he's like always like, I'm like a 30-something-year-old and they're treating me like a child. And we have Janae, who is also a really big part in the book. They describe as beautiful. They describe Liza and both of her sisters as the most beautiful girls in their city, town, whatever, but Janae is supposedly the most beautiful of the three sisters. She won beauty pageants, you know, she's really good at finance and maths, and she really enjoys all that. And she has a very traumatic past, and we kind of see that play into it. We don't see it as much as I would have liked to, but then again, I have to remember that this is not Janae's story, it's Liza's story, Liza and Dorsey's story. So obviously there are side characters and we might not delve as far into them because we're focusing on the main characters. But regardless, Janae is very, very prominent in the story. If not her being mentioned or in every chapter. She's like in every other chapter. And then we have Bev, who is the Bennett sisters' mother. She is very overbearing, and I'm going to talk about her because I really don't like her. But it's something that a lot of people deal with. She loves her kids in her own way, but it's a very toxic way, and we'll talk about it in a little while. And then we have everybody else. Those are the main people that I'm going to really be talking about. The thing I'm going to talk about is the mother-daughter relationship between Liza and Bev, because as Black women, especially in Black households and Caribbean households, I know moms are oftentimes in competition with their daughters. And I felt so bad for Liza throughout this whole entire book, because I felt the pain that I feel like she should have felt more. I think she was just so used to it and so immune to it that she was just like, I'm just gonna try my best to ignore it so I don't have to start this argument. And so growing up in a Black household with similar circumstances, not as crazy as what Bev was doing, but like she would say stuff like, might be a spoiler, but somebody tried to propose to Liza for his own benefits, and she was just like, no. And her mom was like, do you think like you're pretty like Janae, or do you think you're as funny as Dia? She was like, no. She was like, well, then you need to accept this offer. And that kind of hurt my feelings for her, because it was like, how do you think that of your child? Like, how can you say, do you think you're as pretty as your sister or as funny as your other sister? What does that make her then? Like, how do you see her in your eyes? She was always talking about Liza. She was always at Liza's neck about how basically in my mind she was just calling Liza like nothing a lot of the times in my mind. Obviously she didn't say that outright, but the way she treated Liza throughout the book really made me feel for her. I remember at one point I was crying for her because I was reading the book, and even her brother was like, because you know obviously there's romance, and her brother is seeing it, and her brother's like, you're nothing but a side chick, just like mama, like you'll never be a Janae. And we see how the comparisons that her family have placed on her, like the comparisons that her family make affect her, because she even thinks it herself. She's just like, went out to like this big event, and her best friend is there, and her best friend's like, oh my god, you look so pretty. And she's like, well, not as pretty as Janae, wait till you see Janae. Like, it was like she didn't see herself the way she should have seen herself, because her family had always compared her to her sisters. Even her best friend, Chicho, there was a point in the story, I don't want to spoil it, but she was just like, you think you're better than everyone, and you're really not. Basically just talking down to her. She's just like, you deserve better, you can get better, you are better. And everybody expected Liza to want to take the easy way out, and by the easy way out I mean like her mom was a side chick. I think it was mentioned in the book, I'm not like, don't quote me on it, but I think it was mentioned in the book, all her siblings are products of side relationships, and that's why a lot of their fathers weren't in their lives. Her mom throughout the book is like, men take everything from us. They take our energy, they take our bodies when we get pregnant, they take our lives, and so take something from them. So very much so throughout the whole book, obviously we're dealing with people who have money, especially Dorsey's friends, and Dorsey, he has money, and her mom is like, get with them people. I can understand why she would want to put her daughters in a better position, but she would always fault them if they did not want to take that route with her. And Liza was the middle child, but she was very much so giving older child energy, and I think it's mainly because I feel like Janae did give that kind of energy probably before the book started, but such a traumatic incident happened in her life, she wasn't mentally stable enough to be that older sibling. So I think Liza kind of took it in, and her mom put everything on her, like looking after her sisters, and when she would mention something or say something, it was like, oh my god, you again, like you're speaking again, like what, like she was such like a burden on them, and I did not like that. And especially when her brother said that to her, it hurt my feelings so bad, because it was like, what did that come from? So I'm gonna read the little part to you guys because I have my little sticky tab on it. Basically, her family went to this event for her grandmother, and they were acting like fools, like a bunch of heathens at this very expensive, very prestigious event with a lot of very prestigious people. And she was trying to like reel them in, because she's like, all right, like her mom is embarrassing Janae because Janae is dating someone who has money, and she's like telling everybody, yeah, my daughter's going to marry him, they're engaged, da 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 da, like she's gonna get pregnant by him immediately, she's gonna poke a hole in a condom. And she's like, and Janae's like, please get mom, because like I don't want him to think that's who I am, you know, that's not who I am. Like, I'm not rushing to have no kids, I'm not rushing to do none of that, like I don't want that right now, I'm just talking to this man man. I'm just basically, we're dating a little bit. And so she's like trying to get her mom together, and she's like, Ma, please, like, come on. And her mom's still talking her shit, and they get into this argument. And her brother, who his name is Maurice, he's very prominent in the story as well, but like not as prominent. I think he's more so towards the end, but he's like acting a damn fool on the stage, and she's like, you need to act right because this is for grandma. And he's like, well, only you can do activism. And she's like, no, but like this is an event for our grandmother, and you're on stage, going on stage acting a fool. They had to play him out. Basically just tells him to sit down, and he's like, this is what he says: you fight him out all the time, but you're just like her. You're destined for side chick status, big sis. A man looks at you like that for a reason, and it ain't to plan no wedding. And I don't know why I was so emotional, but like the person that Janae was dating was also someone of like money status, rich, whatever. So the fact that like she could have that and no one would claim that she would be a side chick frustrated me, because now that she's kind of getting that, you know, it wasn't like serious. It was like they liked each other. It was a little attraction there. It's now, oh, she's a side chick. And so I put, can Janae date who she wants, but not Liza? Why does she have to be a side chick? I was so mad. There's so many points in this story that actually like pissed me off and made me like want to go off on people, but it made me emotional the way they treated her. And I was so mad towards the end when she didn't like set them straight, because even towards the end she didn't really set them straight, let them know like, yo, what you're saying is hurting me. She kind of just let it go, and that was the only thing in the book that really pissed me off, because I felt like she should have set them straight. I was waiting for the moment where she was like, listen, okay, just because you run your life like this does not mean I have to run my life like this. But she was just like, it is what it is. I guess when you're dealing with ignorant people, you can't really do much, but I'm the type of person that go off first and worry about it later. You will not talk to me like that. There was some spicy scenes in this book, like towards the end. It wasn't that bad. There's some spicier books out there, trust me. I love when there are books about black characters who embrace their blackness. Like she was doing twist outs. She didn't care about people's opinions of her hair because there was comments made. She was just a black woman through and through, and I loved it. And I loved how like strong she was standing in her ways, like how set in her ways she was. Like there was so many people against her. Even like people like she didn't know would comment on, oh, she's not even that pretty. And there were so many people against her, and I don't think she ever let that like sway her and who she was and what her mission was and how she was going to achieve it. There's so many people in so many books where people have these values and these goals and they do not stand in it. And even so, it was a conflicting thought in her mind, like, okay, like even if I liked him, that would be like against what I'm doing and what I'm trying to accomplish, because he's the one that's trying to build the big buildings that takes away affordable housing in my community. I love her. See that love between them and see like two people who felt like they did not belong. And I don't want y'all to get it twisted. My girl Liza is very highly educated. She has a bachelor's and a master's. How so many people in this book discredited her and dismissed her, not in just like her beauty, but like her ideas and her intelligence. It was like a bunch of dismissal of her. It was like, okay, Janae had beauty, so everything she said and did was valid, and whoever she dated was the right person for her. But when it came to Liza, it was like, not that pretty, you're not that smart, you're not funny, you're not this, you're not that. It was like always a pick at her, and I did not like that. She did have someone there who was there to support her, and that was her grandmother, who was always just like, she saw little thing, she peeped little things, and then she wrapped that shit up, and she was like, it's what you want, baby. Like giving her the advice that she needed from her mother. She couldn't even like, and even when she started really liking Dorsey and she started to see like a future kind of sort of with him, she couldn't even open up to her family about like how she felt, because she was like, this is like not a safe space. Like, and she was like wishing and hoping that she could open up to them about how she felt about this man, and she couldn't. So yeah, guys, that is the end of this review. Hope you guys liked it. If you guys read the book, let me know down in the comment section down below how you felt about the book. Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? What were your thoughts on the relationships with your mom? There's like a section in the back that's like discussion questions. Make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and click that little notification bell so you get notifications of when I upload, and you can see more of me and more of my content. So yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace out.